Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. Like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you. We're going to go ahead and call this person mediation regret because they don't want any identifying information tied to them. Well, I would ask you to please just not post your name or any identifying characteristic in any of your questions. Makes my life much easier. Mediation regret asked us, I always watch your channel, and I must admit it has made me more knowledgeable. That's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you for saying that. Like, it makes me feel like the channel has value. I'm not really sure. I know I say this a lot. I'm never sure how many people I'm actually helping. I know the channel is growing and like people watch the channel, but watching the channel doesn't mean that like I'm helping people, right? People watch a lot of stuff that's terrible. People watch Kim Kardashian, right? Not that she's necessarily terrible, but like I don't know if she's helping anyone, right? So I don't know. I never know if I'm helping. That's what I'm trying to say here. Back to the question. I had mediation 3 weeks ago, but we could not reach a deal. A few days later, the defense called the mediator and requested to submit a mediator's offer, which he did. Pause question. Usually a mediator's offer would be the mediator suggesting a settlement to both sides that the sides could opt in on. Just to give you that context. So the mediator here put in a mediator's offer. Back to the question. Both parties accepted the mediator's offer, and the court was notified by the mediator. However, the defense has not yet submitted the settlement agreement. They have, however, sent an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. I have two questions. One, can I back out of that settlement? I haven't signed anything yet, and I feel that it's not a good settlement for me. I would only receive 37% of my actual back pay. Two. Okay, let's answer question one and then go into question two. So, backing out of settlements is an incredibly complex area. You might think it's easy. You're like, I haven't signed anything yet. So, it's not always that simple. Even verbal settlements, like agreements to settlements, can sometimes be enforced. Although generally that's going to be a much less likely thing than, somebody signing a term sheet. Term sheets often get enforced. I see that a lot. So when you're settling a case, if you're not sure about a settlement or like you're not really there yet, don't sign anything. And don't say things like, yes, I definitely accept that, right? Like don't do that. Feel free to make time for yourself. Like, oh, that's interesting. I find that compelling. Need some time. Right? And they're probably going to give you time because they want the settlement most of the time, right? Now, can you specifically get out of that? I think there's a high likelihood if you sign nothing that you can probably get out of that. I can't tell you can absolutely get out of it. I don't know the situation. I don't know the judge. Listen, there's certainly judges who will hold people to verbal settlements. I am aware of that happening. I think it's rare, but it happens. So I think high likelihood you can get out of the settlement would be the answer. Do you want out of the settlement? That I don't know. I don't know anything about your case. I can't certainly advise you about that. I don't think you're asking me about that. I think you seem well equipped to make that decision on your own. So certainly I say go ahead and do what's right for you. Second part of the question. The defense has a habit of offering settlements via Rule 68. I'll do a separate video on Rule 68. That's pretty complex. I don't know if we actually need to answer that for the purposes of this question. Would I have the option to include specific language about how I would like to receive the settlement, such as 1099 versus W-2? I appreciate your input on this matter. Thank you. P.S. Please don't mention my name. Thank you again. I will say that I started making this video and I worked in this video for several minutes before I got to the end of that question. And I had to delete everything and start over because I wasn't sure if the username listed here was your name. That's on me. Okay. So now, listen, there is some leeway between W-2 and 1099 and how a settlement is structured. And that leeway all lives in how afraid your employer is of the IRS. It's that simple. The IRS actively hunts for these settlements. The IRS has guidance on how these settlements should be structured as per the IRS's procedures. And they feel, because they put out procedures, that that's enforceable and you must do as they say. There's a gnat in here. Now, that all being said, some employers will just do things like put everything on a 1099. That's rare, but there's employers that do that. So I can't tell you that there's no room to negotiate. I can tell you that many employers and many defense attorneys will not negotiate that, but some will. So yes, you can absolutely have that conversation with them. You can have any conversation where you can accept the answer, right? You can ask any question, just like I used to tell my little brother when he was wondering about asking people out. You can ask anyone else as long as you can accept the answer. You can't get bitter. You can't get mad if you get rejected. It's just that person doesn't want to go out with you, right? And so too, here, you can ask any question you want about taxation that doesn't break the law. And I think you can argue that this doesn't necessarily break the law because, one, IRS guidance is not necessarily the same as the law. Although I'm not a tax professional, I'm not giving you tax advice, and nothing I'm saying here should... Oh, this gnat is apparently my best friend. Nothing I'm saying here should be construed as any kind of legal advice because I don't know jack about tax law. I retain both an accountant and an outsourced CFO and a tax attorney because I'm stupid about tax law, right? But negotiating your tax treatment for your employment settlement comes down to your comfort level with the IRS and your employer's comfort level with the IRS. That's really all I can say about that. I don't think we had to get into the Rule 68 here, although thank you for the reminder. I should definitely do a Rule 68 video separately. That will be a long one because that trips up a lot of people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you. Take care.